Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Preimesberger, editor of eWEEK. Thanks for joining us today for our segment, eWEEK eSpeaks, video interviews with thought leaders in the Valley. Our interviewee today is Chad Kenney. Chad is a chief technologist of a relatively new company called Clumio, which does backup data protection on the cloud. Chad, welcome to eSpeaks.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, this is exciting. I'm an old storage guy myself. It's the topic of IT that I understand and I hold dear to my heart. And I'm always glad to hear about innovation in this area. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Chad, your background, and also about what business problem Clumio solves, and also where you got the name Clumio.
Awesome. So, I've been kind of in the storage industry most of my professional career and a multitude of different types of roles in companies. Most recently at Pure Storage, I was the CTO there for the Americas, as well as running product and solutions. And so had a lot of experience really being in the customer's shoes to understand the pains and challenges that they deal with and really providing a great user experience around the product. And moved over to Clumio here about a year ago. The company's been around since about 2017. They provide a backup as a service solution for the enterprise that's highly secure, running in the public cloud for the public cloud, but does so across public, private, and SaaS-based solutions. And it's been a blast, I'll tell you. It's learning all sorts of new stuff, especially in the public cloud, building a cloud-native solution such as this. And taking what I'd say is one of the biggest pains in the enterprise, which is this on-prem infrastructure stack, and just really getting rid of it altogether and providing it as a service has been a huge win. The name itself actually came from one of our CTO and co-founder, Woon, and his son actually created the name kind of in the car coming up with different names. And this one stuck. And so, the magic of creating company names is always a tough one. And it worked out well. So it's exciting times for us.
So you were throwing something around inside of a car and it stuck. That's an image. Okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a funny one. They were kind of kicking around names of different types of clouds and names that sounded like clouds, and it landed there.
Good. So what's the biggest business problem that you're looking at solving now? There's a lot of different segments of data protection, no question about it. And more of them now have to do with the cloud, because more and more cloud services are being delivered, especially in this day of COVID when so many people are working remotely and so many companies have distributed teams and employees all over the place. Specifically, how does it work? And what apps are you protecting for starters?
Yeah, great question. So first off, we've seen a pretty sizable journey to the public cloud from literally every single enterprise, right? And so data has become more and more dispersed across public, private, and SaaS-based solutions. And so what Clumio's done is really started off by being the first platform to provide this as a service across all three. So we have private cloud with VMware environments. We have public cloud with AWS native services with EBS and RDS. And then we also protect SaaS-based offerings. And so this gets a full platform, single pane of glass across each one of these subsequent solutions. But really the core differentiator of the platform itself is around the public cloud. This is a space that really hasn't been innovated in, because most products that exist in data protection are ones that existed on-prem and they kind of got thrown into the cloud and tried their best to do something with it, or use the primitives of the public cloud, but never really built a true platform. Yeah. And so where we've differentiated is getting simplicity of deployment, less than 15 minutes, you're up and running, enabling customers to save sizable amount of cost within their cloud environment, sometimes 30 to 50% of their total spend in comparison to snapshots, or maybe even just 10% off their total cloud bill, which is pretty earth-shaking for most for a data protection solution. And we enable a bunch of facilities that others just cannot do, like being able to do long-term retention with direct query access into our data lake to do direct access to, let's say, record retrieval for databases. And so many of the innovations we built into the platform have added substantial value to enterprises, especially those that are moving towards the public cloud.
I see. And are there specific apps that you are protecting now and that you plan to protect in the future?
Yeah, so in the SaaS environment, we today protect Microsoft 365. That's been the biggest growth market kind of for the traditional enterprise. We'll continue expanding into multiple different SaaS solutions as we go forward. We support AWS native services with EBS and RDS, and we're continuing to expand resources there too. And then on premises, we support the VMware environment. And so this kind of gives us the magical three across public, private, and SaaS-based solutions.
Yeah. Now, I heard the word first mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, guys like me love first, only, and new. Okay. And
Awesome.
the more of those we can get in a story, the better the story is. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you said you might be the first company to focus on this particular segment. So are you becoming a pioneer in a new segment?
So when you look at the market, everyone's kind of had multiple different tools. They've had an on-prem appliance, they've maybe deployed something in the cloud, and then maybe they've done something for SaaS, but they've never really done this in a single common platform. And so the first is that we are the first platform that's provided backup as a service across all three in one pane of glass. There are definitely companies out there that have multiple different solutions that cover all three, but we've really innovated to make that experience seamless for customers so that they can on-ramp and then be able to protect all of their different solutions as we continue to innovate and as they continue to expand out into the cloud.
Okay. Does your solution require a software agent on every node or what?
Good question. So we made our solution very agentless as a whole from the get-go. Although over time you'll have integration agents for things like databases and the like. But in the public cloud in particular, we use the native APIs within AWS as an example to do things like change block tracking, to integrate directly into things like RDS and their PaaS services directly, so that we're not having to put agents in every single one of the nodes that are out there. Think of our solution as kind of a cloud collector, or we call it a cloud connector that connects back to our service that kind of streams the data through into the actual service itself.
Okay, it sounds pretty simple, almost too good to be true. So I don't know. You mentioned that it takes only 15 minutes or so to set up. How does that work? Does it just send a beam out to all of your locations and identify where that data is and report back? Is it that smart to do that?
Great question. So first off, just getting it set up as an instance is as easy as getting a LinkedIn account. You pretty much put a login and password and you're up and running.
Right.
Deploying the collector is fully automated. So you can download an OVA for a VMware environment. We have a CloudFormation wizard that actually deploys in an AWS environment. And then we use the authentication directly in Microsoft 365. And so for a customer, they deploy it, it inventories everything. You define how long you want to retain the data via a policy, which can be applied across all of your data sources, and you're done.
Wow.
It's pretty simple. And we've made it simple and easy for customers to just get up and running and go.
Yeah, and that's the difference right there, what you just explained. In a company that's built on the cloud now, as opposed to a company that was built years ago on something else and added the cloud, functionality that you have. It's like I was telling you, earlier, it's like with the open source community, it continually builds upon what it has. It continually is improving what it has. People contribute from all over the world. As a result, open source in general, Linux, Apache, and others get better and better. And in the commercial world that you're in right now, you're doing the same thing that's parallel. You see what's out there. You see the gap that needs to be filled. You see the need. You hear, like you said, the pain from people. And then you sit down and come up with a solution. So congratulations. It sounds like that's working real well. What companies are using you right now?
I'll give you a fun example, a company named Infojex. They've taken our solution and kind of used it across multiple different use cases. There's a case study on AWS that you can find. And the big value they saw was just a single pane of glass management of their AWS resources. They use EBS today as well as RDS. And also, VMware environments that they had on premises, and allowed them to kind of bridge the gap between the two. And so simplicity was big. The ability to have a single policy expand across all of their resources was big. They just loved the simplicity of what we call authentic SaaS, which is a lot of people use SaaS a little bit too often today for either a consumption model or something like that. But They just loved the fact that there was no infrastructure. They knew exactly what they were purchasing, what they were consuming. And there wasn't a lot of additional things that they had to manage or manipulate to get up and running and get that instant value from the product.
Well, it sounds like, Chad, that you and Clumio are in the right lane right now. It sounds like it's a service that's really, really needed by a lot of people right now. So congratulations on that and good luck going forward. And it's Clumio.com. It's CLUMIO, just like it sounds.
Yep.
Not quite Cumulus Cloud, but sort of like it.
Yep, CLUMIO, yeah, .com.
All right, listen, thank you very much for being on eSpeaks today, Chad.
Awesome, thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
And for everybody following along in our conversation, thank you very much and have a great rest of your eWeek. Thanks for joining us on eWeek eSpeaks. Go to eWEEK.com to hear more conversations with IT thought leaders.